The Rip City Drive.
He's on Twitter at Aaron J. Fentress, and he's back on the Rip City Drive. Aaron, thank you so much for the time. We're one step closer to you having to ask the question at Media Day. Hey, Dame, what are you still doing here, man?
Oh, my God. I have a headache, guys. I'm not even going to lie. I kind of came into the off season like pumped up, like this is going to be cool. Like some interesting, all this stuff going on. But the NBA Twitter world has just turned everything into a cesspool of nonsense and garbage.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's so horrific, especially for those of us who used to operate in the world where like things were much better and ethics mattered and it wasn't aggregation and it is just. And all these national guys who put out these things, I'm not saying they're not putting out things that don't have some substance, but a lot of times it's really, really, really thin, or it's just rumor, and then someone else comes along and reports it as a thing and leaves out part of it.
Yeah.
Like it is just amazing. And Lillard is at the center of it because of the whole, is he leaving, is he not? It's a daytime soap. And every single step of the way, it pushes the story forward, but really it's becoming extremely repetitive. And it's to the point, like in the next couple of weeks, either they're going to pull off something that Dame is cool with, or they're not, and then they have to trade him, I believe. If Dame doesn't demand a trade, and they don't, okay, whether they pull off something or not, if Dame doesn't demand a trade, it's got to be over. Like, I don't want to talk about this next year. If you're not going to demand a trade this summer, to me, you cannot come back next summer. It doesn't make any sense because now your value is even going to be even lower. So please, Lord, let this all come to a conclusion this summer, one way or the other. That's all I ask.
But do you really think it will? Because I think, Aaron, honestly, now, and I've waffled all over the place on this one, and you know, based on what happened. But and when they took Scoot, I thought, okay, Dame's gone, and now he's not, and I think he's going to be here. I think they're going to try to play both those guys, and I think that's going to be almost impossible.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not pretending to know exactly what's going to happen with this because it's all over the map. But Cronin's plan was through 2023. And Dame first started saying, hey, what's going on here in 2021, right? But Neil talked him off the shelf, and they came into this season, you know, hoping that they would be pretty good. They came off a pretty good season the year before. They didn't get it done against Denver, but They did pretty well, especially considering that CJ and Nurk had missed most or combined 60 games, and they got Powell late. So there was legitimate reason for some hope that they could be pretty solid the next year. And then, of course, the injuries happened, et cetera, so they went into tank mode. But the whole point of tanking was to get assets to trade them for veteran stars to help Damian. And I don't care what anyone says about anything about how great Sharp's going to be or scoot this or scoot that. I don't care. That was the agenda. That was the goal, period. And you have two kids. And now I'm supposed to believe that this 19-year-old is the second coming of Kobe or Magic? Get out of here with that nonsense. The next person that tells me Scoot is ready and Scoot's going to do this, and Scoot, dude, get away from me. You don't follow the NBA. You don't know what you're talking about. Go look at his game logs at G League right now and then tell me that guy's better than Ant. He's not better than Ant. He's not better than Shaden. He's not ready. I'm not going to buy for 1 second that a 19-year-old is about to waltz up here in Portland and make the Blazers relevant. It's not going to happen. So you failed Damian, period. I don't care how you spin it. I don't care how you shake it. I don't care if you made the right moves. I don't even blame you if you think those two are going to be stars. But don't tell me this helps Damian, because it does not. Therefore, he has every reason after 2 years of going through tanking and waiting for stars to come to be pissed right now and be like, what are you doing? We're not going to win with these little kids right now. We're going to get squashed. So if they don't come through with a big deal in the next 2 weeks, he should ask out, period. And if he doesn't, give it up. You're done. Just say you're willing to ride it out in Portland and never contend and just let it be done.
All right, so Aaron,
and seen.
you summarized everything really well in a tweet. You said the problem at hand for the Blazers, they tanked twice to gain high picks to trade vets to help Dame win now. Instead, they added two teams who might have the Blazers in contention in 26-27. That does zero for Dame today. Joe made promises. Dame gave him 18 months. Now what? So my question is to you. So the problem that some of the Blazer fans have right now is the messaging from Cronin was one thing, and the actions have been another. Why is that? Why do you think Cronin has gone in a different direction than what his messaging has been from day one when he took over?
Okay, so here's the thing. Even though I just went on that rant about how they didn't do what they said they were going to do for Damian, that doesn't mean Cronin made bad choices. Because if you remember, the deal on the table 2 years ago was Toronto wanted number 7 and some other stuff for OG. I don't know when OJ became like a 10-time All-Star. Like, he's good, but this whole thing around OG has always been funny to me. It's like if OG, Siakam, and Van Vliet and Barnes are so good, why did Toronto suck last year? Like, it's the weirdest thing to me. But OG obviously is a nice player. But Cronin held firm. He's like, I'm not giving you number 7 and a bunch of stuff for OG. And they believed in Sharp. And I love the Sharp. Like, I was on board, like, totally, like, get that guy. I think he's going to be amazing. So that was a wise choice because right now you wouldn't trade Sharp for OG straight up. Like, I wouldn't. There's no way I would. Now, come around to this time. I was told by multiple people that people were trying to jack them on number 3. Like, people were like, okay, yeah, we'll give you Zion or Pascal or whoever for Zion. And we want Sharp, for number 3. And we want Sharp and Nurkic and futures. Like, it was just crazy the offers they were getting. So he didn't pull off didn't pull the trigger, which I think was wise. You don't want to make a horrible trade with the pick, but regardless of whether Cronin did the right thing or not, from a franchise standpoint, it still doesn't help Damian, and that's the problem. So if you're gonna just say, okay, well, we can't pass on these two kids; they're too good for what we're being offered. And we believe they're going to both be transcendent and generational. If I hear the word generation one more time, I'm going to puke. Then you have to move Dame and just start over and quit jerking Dame around.
Okay, here's the thing, though, Aaron. You're talking about a blockbuster trade or something that's really going to help Dame. I don't think that deal's out there. I think that's why he didn't make it on draft night. I still don't see somebody out there who they can reasonably expect to trade for, who's actually going to change the fortunes of this team. Do you?
I don't disagree. Like, to me, I mean, like I said, the tanking was for those two picks, so you have the assets to trade. And Cronin said at the trade deadline, what? People are going to be surprised when we go all in, maybe even overpay, right?
Yeah.
Well, clearly they didn't want to overpay. Now, maybe what they were asked to do was even more than overpay. Maybe it was ridiculous. And like I said, I'm not saying Joe Cronin made the wrong decision, especially based on what I've heard was going on. Like, I was told, dude, that the phone didn't ring when they were on the clock. Like, and so here's another thing for you to chew on. Like, the hype around Scoot, and I'm not saying Scoot's not going to be good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he might be an 8-time All-Star. I don't know. But if he's that great, if he's that transcendent and generational, then how come there wasn't a line of teams around the block trying to get him? Like, if that were Kobe or LeBron, truly generational talents, or Magic, or someone like that who came out and they were young and everyone's like, oh my God, these guys are going to be great. Teams would have been giving you whatever you want to get them. But that didn't happen. Instead, people were trying to fleece the Blazers. See, it wasn't even that teams weren't offering enough for number 3. People wanted number 3 and a bunch of stuff. So how great really was that pick?
Yeah, but that's Aaron.
That's completely logical.
Yeah, but Aaron, that was all set up by Dame saying either trade that pick or I'm gone. So people assumed that they're, making a deal under duress. And I think that set them up for being, I think that should have not been said in the first place because it set them up to be fleeced, I think.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Originally, I thought that, Originally, I was thinking, okay, if you want the number 3 pick and you want Scoot that badly and he's so great, yeah, you might come in hard, right? Come in like, well, I'm going to see if I can fleece Cronin. Yeah. But once Cronin decides he's not, or shows you he's not going to be fleeced, you still come back with something, reasonable. But I do agree with you. Basically, and I've talked to people about this too. Like, Dame out there talking, even if it was innocent at times, didn't help the cause because people were definitely calling saying, you guys are kind of desperate, right? Give me It's like you're trying to sell your house. Your house is worth $900K, but you're desperate to sell it. People are coming in at $700K, right?
Yeah.
That's just business. So anyway, to answer your original question, do I think they can pull off something? I just don't. I mean, since they burnt their most valuable asset, which was the number 3 pick, I just don't know. Like, you have Ant, you have Nurkic. You got to free up those future firsts with the Bulls. Like, you've got to do something with the Bulls so you can trade multiple picks in the future. Could they still get an OG? Maybe. And then you roll out Dame, Sharp, OG, Grant, Nurkic, or maybe you flip Nurkic to a different type of center, and you use the mid-level to get a veteran. You bring back Matisse and Winslow. You still got Scoot backing up Dame. You try and get a couple other adults in the room to play, so you don't turn to 20-year-old kids if guys get injured. I think you're going to be better, and I think they can win in 45, 46 games. I really do believe that. Does that move the needle enough for Dame? I just don't know.
Mm. Were you surprised he didn't ask for a trade the other night when they met with Cronin?
No, because what I was hearing is that he definitely wasn't happy, but it hadn't quite gotten to that point. He really, really wants to make this work in Portland. I think that's clear. Like anyone else in history probably would have been gone at some point in the last 3 years. I mean, based on what we know about how players move around. So I think he really, really wants to make it work. So I think he's giving them these next couple of weeks, and we'll see if Cronin can pull off a miracle. He said on draft night that they had planted the seeds, for future trades. They love Chris Murray. A lot of people love Chris Murray. He could be involved in a deal. There's still things they can do. I just think that the problem for me is this. Let's say they take Ant and 23 and something else, and they turn it into OG. Well, that's fine, but the fantasy was you do that and you flip number 3 into another star, right? Then you're stacked. Like, if you could package number 3 and something for Siakam, right, and then also do something for OG, now you're loaded. Now you look like, whoa, now you look like a title contender. But it seems like the best they can do right now is just look like a playoff team, and it's going to be interesting to see if that's enough for Dame.
Okay, you're a Bulls fan. I know you are. A name that's been mentioned is DeRozan. What would you think of that?
As a Bulls fan, I would trade DeRozan for Ant in a nanosecond because I love me some Ant. And the Bulls need a point guard, and DeRozan's in his 30s. If you're the Blazers, though, so their offense was top 6 last year when they were healthy and rolling, right? But their defense was the problem. DeRozan's not a defender.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get better offensively, but you get worse defensively. I think it's better than nothing, but I don't think it makes you – like, OG to me is not as good offensively, but he's better defensively, and that's what you need. So, for me, if I'm a Bulls fan, done. If I'm a Blazers fan, I don't know. So here's the other thing, too, and I think this is important. At some point, it becomes best for the Blazers to just move on.
Yeah.
Like let's say you don't do enough and Dame returns. Because there's some people out there saying, don't trade Dame no matter what. You have to get X, Y, Z. Okay, so you bring Dame back with this exact same team. You sign someone with the mid-level. Great. You go into the season. Let's say everyone's healthy and everything works out and Scoot's the rookie of the year, et cetera, et cetera. What are you? Plan? Let's say you win the plan. Great. What are you, 7th, 8th seed?
Yeah.
No one's going to believe that roster's going to be 5-6, right? Or 4-5, right?
Right.
So you get rolled in the first round. Okay, so now what happens? Okay, so now guess what? You're in the playoffs, so guess who gets your first-round pick in 2024? The Bulls do. Thank you very much as a Bulls fan. If you just move Dame and get something reasonable for him, you're almost guaranteed to have what in 2024?
Yeah.
Another lottery pick. And now maybe you can draft someone over 6'6", worth a damn for the first time in however many years, right? And let me just say one thing. How crazy is it? Like, I almost think that someone pissed off a voodoo doctor somewhere, because how crazy is it that in a 3-player draft, you get the 3rd pick, and the last guy standing is the absolute last thing you need. Like, if you made a list of Blazers' needs, right, the last thing you need is a 6'2", 19-year-old point guard, because your best player is a 33-year-old Hall of Fame 6'2" point guard. It's all, and then you got Ant and you got CJ before that. It's just almost amazing that it turned out to be that way. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign that it's just time. And send Dame to somewhere he can win, and all the Dame fans can root for him to try and win. And then, heck, maybe he wins a title, and in 4 years he comes back and finishes his career as a Blazer. Who knows?
Aaron, I'm hearing from a lot of people in the league that it's just one of those typical cases where neither side wants to be the bad guy. The Blazers don't want to be the front office that dealt their most popular player, and Dame doesn't want to be the guy that asks out of a situation that he's always said he loved. And so they're just kind of frozen there. Do you get that feeling at all?
I mean, that might be the case, and so like I'm of the mind where get over it. Like, but we're talking about the NBA, right? Where it's a world of emotions and feelings where these kind of things matter to a lot of people. So it's easy for me to say, standing in my driveway. But I think Dame. Okay, the Blazers have put out nothing but we want to build around Dame and win, but their actions, right, have not demonstrated that other than getting Grant, which was a nice move. But their other actions with their best two assets that they've had, which were two of their best assets, the two lottery picks, they went in a totally different direction than what they said they wanted to do, right? So if that's the case, you sent a message. You sent a message that these two young players we think are going to be so great after Dame's gone, we can't give them up.
Yeah.
So you've planted the seeds for the future beyond Dame. There's no way around it. They did not draft Scoot for Dame. Scoot does not, again, not getting at it again, but Scoot does not help Damian at all.
No.
So why did you make that pick? Because you're thinking about the future. So they've already publicly shown we value the years post-Dame. Dame has already put it out there that if he doesn't see moves, a conversation must be had. Right? So both of them have sent messages. Well, right, but I know they did have a conversation, but nothing came out of it. But I think both sides will be clear, I think, if they just come out together and just say, we've decided it's time. Yeah. That's all you have to say. We've decided it's time. And then you go out and you try.
I don't think he wants to go, though, honestly. I don't think he really does. I think it was an idle threat, a bit of a bluff. I don't think he wants to go anywhere, Aaron.
I mean, that's interesting. And, look, if Miami comes calling, and I still think, I put this out there like 6 weeks ago. I was like, looking at the NBA, I'm like, what would be the best place he can go where the Blazers could get something? And I wrote Miami, Hero, and 3 firsts, and Duncan Robinson or whatever. And so I keep coming back to that because if he goes to Miami, I just can't see how they're not obviously they're going to be a high-end contender unless someone gets injured, obviously. And if you're the Blazers, you get back 3 firsts. You're going to have a lottery pick next year. You're going to keep your lottery pick next year. And you get Hero, which doesn't fit, right? And people question how good he is, but he's still a reasonable asset that someone at some point I think would trade a first-round pick for. Like if the Lakers had – Lakers would love Tyler Hero. Right? He fit perfectly. He's exactly what they need. They would trade for him if they have a pick to give up. So it's an asset you just add to the pool as you move forward. And if you run Scoot, Ant, you just start Scoot, Ant, Sharp, bring Hero off the bench at all 3 of those positions. You're going to get rid of Matisse. You're going to move Nurk, and you're going to be bad. And then you're going to get another lottery pick. That, to me, helps both sides, and you just move on. But, Dwight, if what you're saying is true, the game has to stop this summer. He can't be at the trade deadline talking about trading me, or next summer talking about trading me. Like, it just has to stop.
Well, Aaron, if they don't trade him now, it's going to be really hard in the future. I think with all the CBA rules that are going to be in place, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, it's going to be worse because his contract is massive. Yeah, and he's going to keep getting older. And heaven forbid he has some kind of injury this upcoming year. And this is 25 games. Right now,
or
what?
Worse? Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Now what? And I'll knock on wood for Dame's sake, but these things happen.
Yes,
they just do at some point. He has a lot of miles on him.
Yep,
and he's about to turn 33. So I can't imagine why it just wouldn't be done this year. You're going to get the most for him. He's going to be the most valuable he's going to be from here on out. And then you get all those assets and you can just start over and turn the keys over to Scoot, Sharp, and Ant.
Yeah.
Hey, where are you playing golf tomorrow?
Buddy of mine's in town. We're going to Redtail in the morning.
Awesome.
My course is closed up for the week for some tournament. They didn't let me play in it. They said you got to have a handicap under 50. So,
well, I'd have trouble getting in too, Aaron, if it makes you feel any better.
Well, enjoy it, dude. The weather's been perfect for golf, and we appreciate it, man. Love the passion, love the energy. You brought it today, buddy. Nice work.
I'm just fed up, bros. You gotta get this done.
Yeah, join the club.
I love it, man. Aaron, we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, guys. Bye.